Hariom, everyone. Welcome to our 2025 November Wellness Workshop with Pardarshita. So we're really excited to have all of you. I'm going to go ahead and start with 3 ohms. Hariom, everyone. I'm Lavanya, and I'll be hosting today's wellness workshop. We will start with some general slides about human trafficking, followed by a fireside chat with our guests joining us from India, and then a short reflection and questions from you all, and lastly, some final words on what you can do to take action. Today's session will be recorded, so if you have any questions or concerns, you can send us a private message through the chat. And now I'm going to hand it over to Deepika, who will be doing some introductions of our role models.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to introduce you to Ravi Prakash and Sharda Singh. Ravi Prakash lives and works in New Delhi, India, and has over 20 years of experience on child protection issues and working to combat child labor in India. Ravi grew up in a small village in the state of Bihar and went to Bihar government schools. Most of his childhood friends never finished school. Ravi only had exposure to English in one class in high school. He taught himself the language so he could go to university in English. He's an expert on inclusive education issues and has successfully worked with state governments, judiciaries, donors, businesses, and civil society to create sustainable changes at the systems level to close the gap in prevention, rescue, and rehabilitation models related to human trafficking. He currently works with a number of organizations in India to build the capacity of police, nonprofits, government officials, and other key stakeholders. Ravi is also currently serving as a board member of Pardarshita. Sharda lives in Jaipur, Rajasthan, and is a child rights and gender justice practitioner with nearly 2 decades of experience in program leadership, monitoring and evaluation, and community system strengthening. She has led large-scale child protection, education, and gender equality programs with leading national and international organizations. She's committed to amplifying the grassroots voices and translating evidence into policy and practice that strengthens dignity, accountability, and resilience in marginalized communities. I also wanted to share that I've had the privilege of working extremely closely with Ravi and Sharda over 4 years when I used to live in New Delhi on a project called Child Labor Free Jaipur. And you can go to the next slide, please.
Thank you so much for having us as your guest this evening, and a special thanks to Vivekji for giving us this platform to speak our work, helping women and girls in India, and to elevate their stories. When we think the word human trafficking, it might conjure up an image of immigrants who have been taken across borders and forced to work behind a locked door in a factory or any other places. Yes, it does happen. But the term human trafficking includes a vast variety of type of circumstances depending on the country and even one country situation. I would like to give some example. Like in Thailand, it could be a forced labor in a fishing sector. In Haiti, poor children called restabaks, they've been forced to work in rich household as unpaid domestic worker. In Congo and other part of Africa, it could be a chicken. It could be they forced to children forced to serve in in coca plantation and as soldiers. In the Middle East, it could be exploitation of migrant construction worker or migrant forced labor for domestic servitude through the kafla system. In Eastern Europe countries, there are migrant workers who are forced to work in construction sector or basically so Eastern European country, I would, yeah, sorry. So there are marriages brokers, those who are doing mail order brides that often are at a risk of trafficking when the women they end up in the West. Trafficking happens for organ removal as well when vulnerable people are forced or coerced to give up their organs, and that for transplant in black market. When you get a call from spammer, it could possible that person on the other end they are forced to commit such kind of fraud. This is called forced criminality. In the United States, it might be runaway youth who kind of be friendly by a pimp, who then control the person to and they force them to serve the pimp's client. So these are few example of kind of trafficking. This is not at all comprehensive list of trafficking. It happens. It is happening all the different parts of the world. For the next hour, we will be focusing on human trafficking in India. You have been listening to Vivekji Meaningful Morning for the last 6 Sundays. You would have heard uh, fictitious story that shows the real life circumstances, different type of human trafficking in India, including children working, child labor working in handicraft sector in Jaipur, Rajasthan, people living in a deep bondage on stone quarries, young women they are exploited in spinning mill in Tamil Nadu, climate change situation that lead to unsafe migration to the Middle East countries, and sex trafficking in the red light areas of big cities. Could you next slide, please? Yes, so human trafficking flourishes as a result of so many compounding factors that lead to vulnerability. One is, of course, poverty that leads to lack of stable housing and food insecurity. There are many people who are struggle daily for their most basic right needs. They are very much desperate for any opportunities for a better life, and that's where traffickers prey on this desperation by offering them just that. Poverty means that children never get to go schools because their family want income from them, and it means that they are already on the path of repeating same cycle of vulnerability. Means they have limited livelihood option in the future, and they are not aware about their even basic human rights like child rights like right to play, right to health, and their right to be treated or protected from violence. They are not aware at all. These factors are compounded by things like caste discrimination, which is very much prevailing in our country, and gender power dynamics that makes certain population even more vulnerable. You could imagine the street children, those who are often targeted because they are easy to recruit and groom, and no one may notice if they go missing. Next slide, please. Sharda, could you?
Yeah. So human trafficking requires three elements: an act, a means, and a purpose. As you can see in the graphics, different types of act, different types of means, and different types of purpose. Let's use an example. Where the act was recruiting, the means was threats, deception, and fraud, and the purpose was sexual exploitation. In this example, the trafficker may recruit a young village woman by promising a good life in the city. When the woman goes with the trafficker to the city, the trafficker sells her to a brothel. The trafficker threats her by telling that if she contacted her family or tried to leave, the trafficker would tell everyone in the village that she does brothel work, thereby bringing shame and stigma to the family. So, to review the example, the act was the recruitment, the means was fraud and deception by giving her false promises of a good life in the city and then threatening her that if she tried to leave, or and the purpose was sexual exploitation. She was sold to a brothel. Next slide, please. So let's see some global statistics here. In 2021, there were an estimated 50 million people living in modern day slavery, with 22 million of those forced in marriages. That is more people living in slavery today than ever before in the history of the world. And modern day slavery is also another term for human trafficking. It generates an estimated $236 billion in profit every year for traffickers, which is huge. The difference between the trafficking of guns and drugs is that you can only sell them once. But when you exert control over one vulnerable human, you can sell them over and over again. Next slide, please. As you can see in the picture, it's happening all around us and hidden in the plain sight. And although the world trafficking usually makes us think of movement, it doesn't actually have to involve movement at all. So when you visit India and look out of the window of the train and see women working in the fields, that could quite possible be the case of human trafficking. When you are on a road trip in India and stop to get a thumbs up from a roadside stand, it is served by you by a 12-year-old girl. That could also be a case of human trafficking. When you go shopping in the local bazaars and are buying beautiful, colorful handicraft products, you will sadly have no idea whether those products were made by people who were being extremely, extremely exploited. The truth is, human trafficking is not somewhere far away. It's right here, woven into the ordinary, and it's up to us to see the unseen. Next slide, please.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, thank you, Ravi ji and Sharda ji, for sharing a bit about the basics of human trafficking with us. We would love to hear more specifically about the work you and the teams of Pardarshita do. So if you don't mind, I have a few questions. If I can start with Ravi ji first. What does Pardarshita do and how does it work?
Thank you for asking this question. Pardarshita works on many different issues concerning women and children. That includes trafficking for labor, sex work, child marriage, education, sexual abuse, domestic violence, and climate-related vulnerabilities. Our approach is to address root causes while we responding to the immediate needs of the target groups. Geographically, we are based in Delhi and Jaipur, and we are also working in other states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, but we are working through our network organization. Community participation is central to our intervention. We engage community in designing their solutions. We also engage them in decision making. Generally, wherever we work, we form community groups such as women group, youth group, and children group and empower them. These groups further, after a certain time of intervention, they reach out to the wider community. So they are kind of key mechanism for us to serve the community on behalf of us. To take an example of our work, I would like to share our work with the children on education. Wherever we work, we ensure that children in our intervention area, they enrolled in the schools. Not only enrolled, we make sure that they stay there, they retain there. And for getting them into school, we address root causes like girls, early marriage, sibling care, and families expecting children to contribute to household income, in a simple word, doing labor in the local workshops. A lot of our work focuses on empowering women and supporting them to have livelihood, because we know that if women become stronger, it has a ripple effect on the entire family, especially on the children. Once children get back to school, we track them and help solve them whatever issues may making them drop out again. So we basically we address the root causes, we ensure that things happen nicely, and we monitor. In last 3 years, I would like to share that more than 6,000 children has been mainstream in the school. We are tracking them, they are in a school, and more than 2,300 cases of sexual assault we have directly dealt. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. That's it's really powerful, the work that you all do. My next question is for Sharda ji. How do you get to know about trafficking cases, and what is the process like for rescue operations?
So these type of cases are always highly sensitive and they require very close coordination with police. So I'll take an example of Jaipur. So Pardarshita work in red pockets of Jaipur in the city slums where tiny workshops are often deep, hidden in deep inside the narrow lanes. If you will visit there, you will not be able to identify them without any help. So many children, mostly brought from Bihar, end up working there in almost slave-like condition. As we continue working in this community, people begin to trust us. Through that trust, some community members quietly share information with us, but they don't want to be identified. People and But they are brave enough to tell us what they see. So whenever we receive a lead, we have to immediately react and reach out to that to police and plan the rescue together. But it is not always straight for us because most of the time we do not share the exact address with the police in advance, as traffickers may also have local connections with some police personnels. So if a single word leaks, the children disappear before we reach the location. So we move very carefully, constantly balancing our trust, secrecy, and safety. We also deal with another challenge. Many people in that area indirectly benefit from these workshops. So, from renting rooms to supplying raw materials, managing small services like fooding, etc., that creates a silence and even acceptance. But over time, with our work, as people engage in our awareness campaigns, awareness meeting, conversation, continuous follow ups, they begin to trust us. And in reality, they know that what is happening to those children, and many of them started saying no, even when it meant challenging their own source of income. So that's when we truly see change, when the community chooses protection over profit.
Thank you for sharing that. It really sounds like intense work and, work where workers and communities are constantly faced with these dire situations, especially related to children. So I'm sure it's very intense. How do you and frontline workers address your own stress related to your personal safety and manage your emotions?
That is such an important question, and honestly, one that often goes unspoken in our work, people. So, thank you for asking this. When we are surrounded by stories of loss, grief, violence, and injustice, it weighs heavily on us. I remember a case that shook all of us, where a child whose tongue has been burned and whose supervisor had put chili in their eyes just to stop them from sleeping and speaking out. That moment broke all of us entirely, and our counselors, and for everyone who took part in that rescue. So everyone was deeply, deeply disturbed. It reminded us that why this work mattered, why we started this work, and why we don't want any children to go through that pain again. So after that, we realized that while we knew how to respond to trauma, we were not caring for our own. So after that, we started holding reflection sessions and healing circles. So it is kind of our own safe space to talk, to release, and to find strength together. Because healing is not only for survivors; it's for those who stands beside them too. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Ravi ji, I have a question for you. So NGOs can't be responsible for solving all social ills in the communities. So what role is established or do established systems like local governments and police play? And how do you keep accountability when the system fails?
Yeah, so government system basically they are central. They have departments like police, child welfare committee, labor department, and social welfare offices. They are legally mandated to act. We work in collaboration with these departments, and we never go in any kind of confrontation. Helping them to reach out to the victims in the community, which is kind of our strength area. And we also at the same time process cases and connect families of the victim to these offices to get the entitlement and support. Like any system, there are times where responses are slow, coordination are weak among this department for any particular case. And in those moments, we push escalation. We do escalation through the right channel. For example, in one case, there was there one where we knew that for sure there were children in a workshop, but labor inspector who visited kept insisting that there is no children there. We independently gathered the evidences to show children working there and presented it before the appropriate authority. We knew that with these evidences, we could get which then required them to act and open investigation. We also support capacity building of different actors within these offices and encourage community to uh, monitor and so that the accountability is shared among these stakeholders. Normally, when we work in community, we hold meetings and work with the community and allow them to lead and come up with their own solution. We entirely help them to understand their problem, their root causes, and we help them to draw their solution long term and short term. We help them to learn how to engage with the uh, local authorities, how to advocate their problem, uh, and especially to those offices who are not doing their job. Our focus is stay on partnership, ensuring system respond better and survivors are not left alone. Thank you.
Thank you for explaining that. And it sounds like, for the most part, you all are following these girls, even children, quite, a ways into the future to make sure that they are safe. And Sharda ji, I wanted to ask more about what are the protections that are in place so these rescued girls don't get trafficked again?
So for Pardarshita, rescue is just really a first step, and we believe that long-term safety and rehabilitation is the real goal for rescued girls. We provide immediate shelter, immediate medical support, psychological care, and institutional rehabilitation. Girls are united with their families only after thorough verification when we are confident that they will be safe and they are going back to their home and they will be supported by the family and able to continue receiving rehabilitation services. So once they are back, girls are linked with the school and families are connected with government benefits. So programs like financial, which gives them financial security by starting small businesses or entrepreneurship, those things are mandatory in our program. And this kind of long term support is so important because it eases the economic pressure that often pushes children back into the same kind of risk again. So we also work very closely with child protection unit, child welfare units, and women shelter homes and police to monitor that if there are any requirement or any threats, they respond quickly to help them out. And over time, we have seen that regular follow-ups, mentoring, and community vigilance network, which we have created through our work, are really key to prevent trafficking or e-trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like, you have a lot of teams in place and are doing such great work and such hard work to make sure that these girls are safe. Ravi ji, is there anything that Pardarshita is focusing on for the future?
Yes, so while our work has primarily focused on casework approach, where we continue to be, which is very much essential, we have always known that there is a strong need of spending efforts to prevention. But prevention work, it is bit resource expensive because there is a need of so many people working on ground in communities versus targeted rescue and rehabilitation effort. But preventing vulnerability that lead to trafficking is always most effective because it stop trafficking before even it happens. We have already identified several pockets areas in rural areas, remote areas, and villages where prevention programs are urgently needed. In our field work, one truth has stood up sharply. Women who has lost their husbands and become widows are among those who are most targeted and vulnerable. Traffickers prey on their isolation, their financial hardship, and their quiet struggle to raise children alone. In several of areas we surveyed, a majority of trafficked children came from such households. The pattern made us realize that this kind of uh, activities of crime by trafficker, it's not unorganized exploitation, but it's a coordinated system of organized crime by them that thrives on people vulnerabilities like widows. Going forward, as I explained the situation, we plan to channel future focus and our resources more towards supporting these widows and single mother, helping them access to livelihoods, community safety nets, and psychosocial support. We are kind of standing beside them. Is We feel that it's not just prevention, but it is about restoring hope, dignity, and the agency, and of course breaking the cycle of trafficking before it begins. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Um, so for someone like an ordinary person like myself, how can we spot signs of trafficking and safely report them?
Um, Trafficking often hides in a plain sight, so awareness matter. Warning signs like women or girls working long hours, restricted movement, appearing fearful, sign of physical harm, or someone else controlling their documents or wages. Uh, but if something feels wrong, I would say don't confront traffickers directly. It can endanger the victims and you as well. Instead, report to helpline, local police, or anti-trafficking unit or hotlines, and organizations like us. We can do the support through coordinated action. It is not your burden to recognize any act which you have suspicion, is whether it is trafficking or not. Your role is to flag concerns when you have that doubt, so it can be investigated safely and responsibly. Community awareness is one of the strongest protection measure, I feel, because then all of us, the people in the community, become the eyes and ears of the authorities. So raising awareness would be a great idea, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for answering those questions for us and, going through everything that step by step and sharing or spreading the awareness with us tonight so that we can also be aware of what's going on and try to help in our own ways. And Pardarshita sounds like an amazing organization. You guys have worked so hard and are doing so much to help these women. And thank you for sharing everything with us tonight. And if we can just take a moment, I know that Ravi ji and Sharda ji have shared a lot for us to think about. So if we can just take a few minutes to reflect on all that we've heard thus far. And after the few minutes, we'll have a little time for Q&A. So if we can just take about 2 minutes to reflect, and if you can think of any questions to ask Ravi ji and Sharda ji, they'll answer those shortly. Oh, and just a couple of reflection questions to think about. How has your image of human trafficking changed based on what you heard today? How did the presentation make you feel and why? And what is one tangible action or commitment you can make to support the anti-human trafficking movement? What is the positive impact you can create by taking action? We hope you got some time to think about and reflect on everything that was shared this evening. Before we get to Neelam G, there was a question the question is, if we were able to come to Bharat for some time, is there any hands-on seva we could offer while there? Either Ravi G.
Oh, yeah. Should I answer, Sharda? Yeah. Yeah. So, as I said, we have physical presence in Jaipur and Delhi, and through partners in some other states. Um, while you are visiting these places, you could come to our offices and go to field. Depending upon this intervention is also highly technical. We do, it's not just a meeting we are conducting in the community, but every meeting has certain purpose. So as per your skill, and once we would explain what is happening and what are the science behind every activities, you could select some activities, and of course uh, do the seva, and you can talk to the community or maybe help to the survivor. Um, that all depends on the situations that time. Yeah, but you're welcome.
Great. And if you do have a question, you can raise your hand virtually and get to you. Our next question is from Neelam G.
Yeah, we are working with the survivor from they are trafficked for different purposes. So we work in Delhi, and Delhi mostly sexual abuses, and that work has been done in coordination with the Delhi Women Commission. So we have mechanism to get the referral cases at one hand, and once we get refer of any women or girl, mostly girls, we found 60 more than 70% they are children. Um, then we assist them right from the first counseling to the rehabilitation. They are getting their compensation and all. In Jaipur, we are mostly working with children who are trafficked and forced in workshops. We have seen deaths also, and these are very sensitive. We cannot take picture as such. We what we showed the picture is kind of blurred or kind of just showing the it's not the real picture. We generally avoid, or we do it after the proper rehabilitation has been done. So in Jaipur, we work with children, and we have direct access. We have group of informer, those people who are very sensitive in the community. They inform us, and some cases which we take directly, some cases which we found that it's not in our geographical area, we are not in that capacity. We forwarded it to a group like us, but we make sure that the other group who we forwarded the cases, they act on these cases responsibly. We have good network with government offices as well. So that's how we have that network, and we track it thoroughly, right from rescue to rehabilitation. We have a Excel sheet, so we do it thoroughly. That can be once somebody can visit India, they can also help us on our MIS, how we can digitalize more nicely. That's be done, can be done. Thank you.
You. There's a couple of questions that apart from like monetary help, is there any other way that we can help remotely?
Yeah, Sharda, should I answer? Or yeah, we
You can
thought
show
about it.
hand. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm just typing the answers in the chat box.
okay. You could also add, we thought about it because for us, resources is one thing, like monetary resources. It's only one thing. The power of people, those who are supported us, those who are thinking about it, those who have been joining 6 Sundays morning to hear the stories. Um, I think their power is empowering us. It's a thought, it's a pray, it's a seva that you are thinking about it. That is more valuable. Uh, in a physical term or distantly, it all depends upon the skills. Like what are the skills that can be beneficial for us. It could be documenting case. It could be if somebody is good on psychology, they can be helping our counselors. Somebody is good on data. So it all depends upon their professional skills that can be uh, give us more empowered in that particular area. And of course, if somebody is visiting there, then they can come and decide. So yeah, so these are the things, and of course, talking to their friends, their peer about trafficking, it will stop. It's not one confined to one area. We would like to address it to across. So I would be requesting you all to speak to your friends, your peers, your relatives about trafficking so that we can stop it.
And a follow-up question to the, if somebody is in Bharat and can they help in any way? What cities would they need to go to help with that?
Delhi is, of course, we are there. And in Rajasthan, we are working in Jaipur. In Bihar, we have presence in Gaya, if you know, and West Champaran. The HDI is very low. In UP, we have presence in Eastern UP and in Noida, of course, where I am based in currently. Um, Apart from that, we have network in Jharkhand, Ranchi, and West Bengal. But for better coordination and all, we would advise to our direct offices where our work is directly we are doing. We have teams. It's like Noida, Delhi, and Jaipur would be more preferable for us.
Okay. There's a question on, are you planning on creating a presence in South India?
Yes, of course, with help of yours. We have been doing some work in South India, like in our example, our colleagues, we have been working in Tamil Nadu on in the spinning wheel, where girls from Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, they've been trafficked and forced to work for long hours. There are lots of cases of sexual exploitations as well. We tried to work in source area as well, but our network, they work in Tamil Nadu to organize these workers in a kind of union and raise the voices to get the safety and minimum basic standard of services. They lives in hostel mostly by the employer, by the males. So yes, we wanted to do that more areas, and our we wanted to do it, but the most challenges we get is resources. So what we wanted to do is finish our job, and that also depend upon the resources we have in our hand.
Thank you. There's a question on, can you please provide specific examples of businesses and education opportunities available to them?
I have mentioned it already, but here just to respond that to everyone. So we try to help them, help the families and the child to access the right to education, mostly because these children are coming from rural backgrounds. So they need to go to the school, because in schools there are different kind of dynamics, caste discrimination, and different kind of factors. To we try to make a dialogue with school authorities to involve them in the education process, and we also provide them supplementary learning support, so that they cannot get motivated in the schools, and they can have strong foundational learning through our supplementary schooling support. And for livelihood, it depends on the family structure, and it depends how family can explore the possibilities with us. So in most of the cases, if they have land, of if they can rent land, so we help them for
Okay.
agricultural uh, things, so that they can produce vegetables from which they can have regular income, or livestock kind of support. And if they are able to open small shops and start entrepreneurship, we provide them 10 to between 10 to 20,000 kind of cash support.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a bit of it. So one thing is we make sure children enroll in the school, and there are lots of challenges. Sometimes from family side, as I said, and sometimes there is a community pressure to girl to marriage or take care of their sibling. We address it systematically. From the school side also, there are lots of challenges. They go to government school because it's free under the RT Act, as Sharda said. But government teachers, they don't want these children to be enrolled in the school. They places unnecessary hurdles, asking unnecessary document. So our community worker, they assist them. This is one. And for victims of trafficking, we ensure that every victim, they go to school as per their age appropriate classes. This is the policy of India, government Bharat policies. And right after rescue, they go to shelter home, where we make sure that if they have never been to school, they start learning in the shelter home. There is a methodology you must be knowing, that within a short period of time, children can learn age appropriate skills in language and mathematics. That we do with help of government. We developed something in coordination with government. This is one. Second, uh, we did help some women in rural areas, where we found we it was initially to be piloted, and we was trying to find it out what is the best support for them, where if we provide technical support and resources, they can grow. There are very good example, like a widow. She was good on tailoring. We got a machine to her, and we also got a local market for her. She is now earning. Her child was withdrawn from labor, and they are studying. There were two child. Similarly, a lady, she had a small land holding, and she was widow. The entire powerful people in the village, they wanted to grab that land. We protected these women and helped them to cultivate vegetables, and to the local market we provided financial assistance. So our support is through the direct community workers, as well as we have groups, like we said. So in that area, particular area, West Champaran, we had a group called Mata Group, Mothers Group, and they support widows. We are not always present in the community, so they also safeguard them. So that way, we generally, it all depends what kind of business support we are going to provide to women. It depends upon her skill, her available resources. The most easy thing is they wanted goat rearing, but sometimes goat rearing is engaging their children in, like, getting them feed and all. So we prefer it last. So it all depend upon the situation. But it has impact. In every case, they withdraw child labor, they are studying in the classes in the school. So that was very encouraging. That's why we wanted to escalate this intervention.
Great. There's a question about how much does it cost to educate a single child to graduation?
One thing is, like, it's a we have certain programs we did in future in Jaipur especially where we have a good presence. There are local children who used to work in neighborhood workshops and all. So continuous support to a girl to go to the higher education is one of the agenda, because if we make sure that they go to the primary school or the middle or higher, it is not going to help them. As soon as they drop, they are getting married. So we try to make sure. The thing is, the youth group is good, is helping much about it. They inform us if any girl who is on verge of dropping out because of marriage or any other issue, they report to us. And then the entire group, they make a community pressure to them. Sometimes it's financial. There are government schemes, but it's very hard to get it if not somebody supported thoroughly. So we also try to help them to access government scheme, some scholarship for higher education, and we got some money from individual donor to support them for higher education. We don't have much cases. We wanted to work in that area as well, to make sure all girls going to the graduation. For me, it's also a journey. Studying for higher education, Deepka was sharing, it was challenge for me. So I feel the pain. I wanted to make sure it, whoever is coming in our touch, we are committed to do that. How much, it all depends situation and resources, but we will do.
Is there something we can help with for education in shelter homes? Like maybe education online via Zoom? And the other part is, what is your most like dire need right now in terms of, yeah, your needs for Pardarshita?
Yeah, regarding the first part of question, yes, for there is some language barrier must be, no, some girls who are speaking Hindi or local dialects, they won't be catch English, but a few girls and children, those who are understand English, and they wanted to pursue higher education or competitive exam, they can of course take classes, online classes that we can think about. In shelter home, uh, children are basically, the children who are living in boys shelter home, they are between 7 to 12. Most of these child labor who are forced to work in workshops, they are very tiny. They are 7 to 12 or 13. So it's not that possible, but creative activities, something play and fun, where uh, they forget their what happened with them, that would be helpful. We can design it. It's like my quick uh, answer about it. And the second question I forget. I couldn't note. What was that? Sorry.
What is your dire need right now?
The need is, as we said, we are focusing on casework, and after rescue, we are helping girls, women, and children, boys, to rehabilitate properly. We are working with the government system as well, but our focus is to stop it. For that purposes, we identified some areas where which are the sources. We have been working with government system. We have the legal documents also. So other rescue which we are not able to deal with from other geography. But from all these documents, we found that certain pockets are very vulnerable, and in some pockets we started working. We got a good result, but other pockets are really not. Uh, Nobody is working. So we wanted to access that. Second thing is, we wanted to do something which government uh, take into their system, which has happened in our last role. 3 4 good models, they have been accommodated in the government, and that's going very well. We wanted to do these things also for the prevention point of view, or we wanted to keep the data which is government. Generally, they are not keeping the data of how many children are rescued, how many been sent to which state, and I don't know why. But we wanted to strengthen this area also. Unless the government system, they don't know the magnitude of problem, it's very hard to make a program or policy intervention. So these are area, but yes, we wanted to directly work with these areas which is highly sensitive for trafficking, to raise awareness, to build shield, safeguarding, and all. Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me of a case. We rescued some children, and it happens frequently though. And they were working in a workshop, and they were thinking that their family is getting money, regular monthly income. When they landed in shelter home, then they started saying to our counselors that why did you do that? I wanted to support my uh, sister's marriage. Somebody said they wanted to support their father health treatment. So that kind of guilt they generally take when we rescue them. They are not aware about their entire situation. They would won't be able to see that. Then we do group counselings and all. In a batch of 40, for example, when we rescue, we conduct group kind of exercise where we try to promote somebody. Some children, they automatically they stand up and they say that their recruiter, they call them Sate, they were beating them. They were not allowing them to food. They only had 2 meals in a day. And when even one children spoke and break the silence, every children then they started recognizing that what was happening with them. So basically, a little with little exposure and in a false perception that their families are getting money, nobody gets even the initial money advance. The traffickers through their channels they provide it. So this is one we break this. Second, yes, shelter home. All the shelter homes are not good. There are standard services list policies from the government of India for government run and NGOs run shelter home, and child welfare committee, which is a quasi judiciary body at district level, they have to visit district judiciary side. They also have to visit. They don't do it regularly, but wherever we work, we make sure that all these authority they go to shelter home and they visit. They tick the all. They we have developed uh, certain checklist indicators. They already have some indicators, but we got added some of them, so that they can speak to children or the women or the girls. There are separate shelter home for boys, girls, and women. So it's not that it's ready-made available thing for shelter home. They want to stay in shelter home for more than 3 months. When the investigation from the sources says that they can go to their family safely, they can stay with their family with little scheme support and all, then the proper handover to the parents happens once the report goes. These are the process. But we make sure wherever we are working, shelter home conditions should be good. But it's not a ready-made thing. Yeah, yeah.
Just
Thank
adding to that, though few childrens, because traffickers, what they do, they brainwash them. So they tend to give these kind of statements that, we are not feeling comfortable here, it is not easy for us, and things like that.
you. Mhm.
So also, every shelter home is not the same, but in our intervention, we in Jaipur, the shelter homes are a lot better. In Delhi, shelter homes are a lot better than compared to, northern part of India. But in shelter home, the conditions are not that bad as they face in the workshop, because they have a limited space to roam around. Uh, but coming back to your statement that the children are tend to, say repeat these kind of statement in front of labor, department inspectors, SDMs, because they have to give statement, and if traffickers are in contact with them, because they tend to visit with their parents, so that their cases are not, being picked up in the courts in their favor. So they brainwash them again and again. I think what Deepika said, and she covered very beautifully, that we tried to do the systems change. So when we
Systems
started
change.
this, yeah, so systems change, and when we started our this project, Child Labor Free Jaipur, so we identified the gaps in the government system, and also as part of the organization NGOs, that what we are not able to understand and what we are not able to see. So those things were documented, and then we worked upon it. And working with police officers and everything, I think we need to sensitize them first, because after our sensitization consultations, we started getting the convictions after, I think, 8 months of interventions. So it was huge win for us. And so I think if Ravi want to add something into this.
Yes, we want to add. So when we design the project, we make this factor into it. Local police officers who are near to the area where these trafficked women or children, they forced to live in confined places. Nobody knows, but we feel that local police officer, they have intel, and sometimes they have nexus also. What is the good thing in government policy is that there is a anti-trafficking unit sitting in every district, and they do not sit in the local police station. So they have a fair chances to go to the place and rescue. So this is bias structure. Whenever we get any information, children working in workshop trafficked, or women or girl, we generally go to AHTU, Human Trafficking Police Unit, and without informing them address, we go and rescue the children um, as per the mandated steps. So this is one thing. Second thing, there are good cops, there are bad cops. One example I could give, when we were doing this intervention, one officer who was Additional Director General Police, Rajiv Sharma, he came into contact. He mentored us, he helped us. He also helped us transferring corrupt officers from these pockets to other places. Uh, and he has been helping us. Now he became the head of police of Rajasthan, and he is like offering us his networks to other places as well. He wanted us to conduct training in West Bengal, where there is lots of trafficking happening, but its resources basically, even though they would provide us government setup to speak, interact, but travel cost or other costs, it's challenge for us. But yes, there are now we have good police officer who are IPS, Indian Police Services. They are helping us. Top officials generally they support. It's local police station where we get challenged. Sorry, yeah, it's long answer. Yeah.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to share a couple of points. So one, it seems like there's a lot of interest in getting involved in different ways. So I just wanted to request people, I think on the next slide, we mention it. If you're specifically interested in trying to provide some volunteer work, either online, you can email philanthropy@chinmayaniagara.com. And we will just gather those names and kind of try to match up, speaking to Ravi and Sharda about what are their needs and what are the skills available, and kind of see, where we can go from there. And I also wanted to just say a few words. We can actually stop sharing the slide for 1 second, please. I wanted to share a few words about something that Ravi alluded to about government systems. In the work that I did with them when I was living in India under Child Labor Free Jaipur, we've been talking a lot about how to help individuals, specific individuals, rescuing victims, how to prevent trafficking by identifying vulnerabilities, but all of that has been with individuals and working in communities. But what we really haven't talked about is also the importance of making systemic changes. And I just wanted to share an example from Child Labor Free Jaipur because it was one of our most identifiable successes, which is that when we started this work in Jaipur, there had been no known convictions of traffickers in the Jaipur judiciary and actually in all of India under a very specific trafficking law. And in 2.5 years, we were able to identify very systemically what were all the gaps in the system and address each of those gaps. So, that work required sort of building political will within the officials that worked in the court system, sensitizing judges, what is child labor, working with, prosecutors who were a little bit reluctant, and just, there were all kinds of gaps. Like the police would go do a rescue and they would be collecting evidence on their personal cell phones, which is then not admissible in court. So training police about how to collect evidence properly. Children were being asked to testify in these really intimidating court systems without any support, care and support to just take them through that system together. So all of these things, after 2.5 years of working on each of those, we started having a steady stream of convictions of traffickers in Jaipur. And then COVID hit, and then unfortunately the project had to phase out. But I mean, I just want to share, especially about Ravi and Sharda, I cannot express enough their tenacity and their never give up attitude. I mean, this work is very complex in India. You're dealing with a lot of different kinds of people with a lot of different mindsets. And it's just, there's a lot of problem solving that has to happen. So I just wanted to mention that about systems change. Also, when I worked with them, they had a lot of different roles, but one of their roles was to work with the nonprofits that had staff that were working on the ground. So their job was like to mentor them and guide them, help them to succeed. And they also worked closely with the field workers and the community workers, who were the people that would go in every day into the villages and, actually do the execution of the project. And I just want to share, like I remember during COVID, there was a day when the traffickers were basically trying to move the children on buses. And these field workers were literally chasing buses in the middle of the night. Like, I was in my bed in Delhi checking my cell phone because I'm on the WhatsApp group, like seeing this unfold in real time. And I'll give you another example. When I traveled to Nepal with a different project, I traveled to one of our partners that was located like way outside of Kathmandu, like traveled for like 5 hours to this mountainous area that's on the border of China. And we get to their office and they had no roof because there had been some kind of a windstorm and it just blew the roof off a couple of days earlier, but they were still coming to work. And so, these NGO workers, they're just working in incredibly difficult circumstances that it's hard for us to comprehend, with no roof in the middle of the night. They're traveling on motorbikes in the heat, going from village to village, that are so far away from each other. So I just want to really recognize that kind of work that these field workers are doing. Thanks for letting me talk for so long.
No, thank you. That's amazing. And we appreciate you all for doing so much work. I mean, mentally and I'm sure emotionally, it's very difficult at times also. So thank you for sharing with us tonight. I just want to go over, if we can bring the slides back, I think, with the details of how to get a hold of them, but just a few things like, providing financial resources is obviously critical to help the nonprofits do their work. But just to, if you have already invested, all of us have invested our time in building the awareness through being here today, which will allow us to be better in recognizing trafficking and able to take action to report it. In addition to resources and time, we can also invest our effort in talking to others about what we've learned today, which hopefully will create a ripple effect among others. And we can also consider posting on social media about this workshop and how it's impacted you. And of course, Elevate Her Story campaign that we've been or kind of just putting on social media, but if you can put it on your own social media, personal accounts, that would be great. And then, of course, there are many other ways, big and small, that we can contribute. And I think some of the emails and websites have been posted already in the chat, but if you haven't seen, if you can just scroll up. If you want to get more information on how to help Pardarshita, there's you can email the philanthropy at chinmayaniagara.org, and they can get you in touch with Ravi Ji and Sharda Ji. I think there was a question about how to get a hold of them. And so
I think it's actually .com. It was the typo.
Okay, sorry, .com.
It's,
Okay, I think
philanthropy
it's
at
in the
chinmayaniagara.com. And then I also forgot to mention this other URL that's here, clfc.in. This is a new network that Ravi and Sharda have started called Child Labor Free Communities. And Pardarshita is one of the main partners in that network. So you can go to that website if you want to learn more about it.
Thank you. Yeah, please take a screenshot picture. And then in the meantime, I'll hand it over to Sheetal just for closing and quick announcements.
Thank you, Deepal. And I just want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ravi Ji and Sharda Ji for bringing such an important cause to our community. And of course, to Deepika for introducing us to Pardarshita and the incredibly meaningful work that they're doing. So, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hariom, everyone.